Hello students, in the previous lesson we learned about reaction of metals with oxygen. Today we are going to study the reaction of metals with water. Metals react with water to form metal oxides and hydrogen gas. But it is observed that all metals do not react with liquid water. Some react with only steam. The metals which react with liquid water, they also form metal oxide and hydrogen first. But the metal oxide formed dissolves in the water and forms metal hydroxide along with hydrogen gas. Whereas those which react with steam, they form metal oxide and hydrogen. So the general reactions involved in case of metal reacting with water, either in liquid state or in the gaseous state, are given here. First one is the reaction of metal with liquid water to give metal hydroxide and hydrogen, and second one is the reaction of metal reacting with steam to form metal oxide and hydrogen. Now first of all, we will discuss the reaction of metals with liquid water. Examples of such metals are potassium, sodium, calcium and magnesium. Now amongst these four, potassium and sodium, they react vigorously even with cold water. The reaction is so much exothermic that the heat evolved is enough to burn hydrogen gas. So it is observed when the metal piece is added to water, the piece of metal catches fire. But this thing is not observed in case of calcium and magnesium. In case of calcium, it reacts even with cold water, but the reaction is not that exothermic and vigorous as in case of potassium and sodium. So the hydrogen gas that is evolved do not catch fire. Instead, that hydrogen gas bubbles stick around the metal surface and makes it rise up and float over the surface of water. This is a peculiar thing observed in case of calcium as well as magnesium. The only difference between the two is magnesium requires hot water for the reaction, whereas calcium can react with cold water also. Now we will write the reactions of all these metals with water. Potassium in solid state reacts with cold liquid water to form its hydroxide KOH, and hydrogen gas is also released. Potassium hydroxide will be formed in aqueous form. Now we have to balance this equation. So to balance it, we have to write 2 here. Here also we will be writing 2 and here also 2. Similar reaction will occur with sodium also. Sodium in solid state reacts with cold liquid water to form sodium hydroxide aqueous solution and hydrogen in gaseous state. Now the balancing is same as that for potassium. So 2 here also 2 we will have to write, and here again. The only difference between these two is the rate of reaction. This reaction happens slowly than as compared to potassium. This suggests that sodium is less reactive than potassium. Now coming to calcium. Calcium will also react with cold water to form its hydroxide calcium hydroxide CaOH whole oil in aqueous form, and hydrogen in gaseous state will be released. Now in order to balance this equation, we will have to write 2 here and the equation will be balanced. Similar reaction will be with magnesium. the balancing also will be same because calcium and magnesium both have valency 2. Formula will also be similar for their hydroxides, MgOH whole twice in aqueous form, and hydrogen gas will be liberated. Now, next we will be discussing the reactions of metals with steam. Okay? In order to conduct the reaction of metals with steam in the laboratory, we require a setup as shown in this figure. Here we can see the metal sample is taken in this test tube, and at the end of the test tube, a glass wool soaked in water is kept. This test tube is fitted with a delivery tube which will deliver the hydrogen gas formed after the reaction to a truck which is filled with water, and it also has a test tube inverted over it. So whatever gas bubbles are coming through the delivery tube will be collected in this vertical test tube. As soon as the burner is turned on and water gets heated up, which is soaked in the glass wool, it gets converted into steam. That steam passes over the metal sample, it reacts with it to form its metal oxide in solid state, and hydrogen gas that is produced will pass through the delivery tube and will get collected in the test tube. Right? Now we will discuss the chemical equations by taking some examples of such metals which react with steam. So these metals are, some examples are aluminium. Suppose aluminium is taken in this test tube. This will react with steam. Since water is in gaseous state, so it is must to write symbol for gas here. Now, these two will react to form metal oxide. Al2O3 is the formula of aluminium oxide in solid state, and along with it, hydrogen gas is evolved. Now, to balance this reaction, we will have to write 2 here first, and then we will be writing, this is 2, and here there are 3 atoms of oxygen, so we will have to write 3 here. Now, oxygen is balanced, but hydrogen has to be balanced, so we will have to write the coefficient 3 here. So we got the balanced equation. Now, similar reaction with iron. Iron reacts with steam less vigorously than aluminium to form a mixture of iron 2 and 3 oxide. The mixture of iron 2 and 3 oxide, we know, is represented by the formula Fe3O4. And along with it, hydrogen gas will be evolved. Now, to balance the reaction, 3 atoms of iron should be written here, and we can see here 4 atoms of oxygen, so we will have to write 4 here, and number of atoms of hydrogen at the left hand side are 8, so here also there should be 8, so we will be adding 4 coefficient in front of this hydrogen molecular formula. Now coming to other metals like copper, silver and gold. In case of copper, silver and gold, if they are mixed with cold water or hot water, or if they are if the reaction is carried out with steam, it is observed that in none of the cases the reaction happens. It tells that all these 3 metals, copper, silver and gold, are least reactive. That is why they are not able to displace hydrogen from water. So I hope everything is clear that is taught in this lesson. The conclusion of it can be similar to the one that we have drawn in the previous lecture about the reactivity of metals. So looking at the observation and the rate of reaction, we can say potassium is of highest reactivity, then comes sodium, then calcium, then magnesium, and then comes aluminium, after that iron, copper, silver and gold. Now we will watch a video in which we will see the reaction of sodium with oxygen as well as calcium with oxygen. So let us start with the video. Now we will see the reaction of calcium with water. When the metal pieces are dropped into water, first they sink down and lot of gas bubbles are evolved. The hydrogen gas bubbles evolved lifts up the pieces over the surface after some time. The metal does not catch fire because the heat produced in the reaction is not enough to burn hydrogen as seen in case of sodium metal with water. I think you must have understood the difference between the reaction of sodium with water and calcium with water. Now in the next lecture we will be discussing about reaction of metals with acid and base. Thank you.